And actually, the Confederate Army fights more as a cohesive whole in terms of divisions and brigades and corps and all that on the second day than they do the first day. The first day they dive in on these, the columns of corps, and it just shatters organization, and the corps commanders actually start taking sectors in the line. So Hardee's corps doesn't fight together. Breckinridge's corps doesn't fight together. Bragg's corps certainly doesn't fight together on the first day, but on the second day, they kind of just, some of it's by accident, some of it's by plan, they all just kind of coalesce together, and what we see are Hardee's 3 brigades all fighting on the other side of the battlefield, side by side. Now, Hardee's not there, Hardee's over here actually, but the 3 brigades are fighting together. Breckinridge's 3 brigades, 2 had come here on the first day, 1 had gone Tribou, the Orphan Brigade, had gone the other direction, but they all fight side by side with Breckinridge on the second day. Bragg's corps doesn't fight together, but the 2 divisions of Bragg's corps actually does. 1 division, we saw Gladden and so on over here. The other will be on the other side over there. The corps that is the most disorganized, to get to our, I guess we've got a theme going on here already. The most disorganized corps on the first day and continuing on in the second day is none other than Leonidas Polk's corps. The most incoherent division of that day is Clark's division, which part of that is Stewart's brigade. The most incoherent brigade, or unorganized brigade, on the second day, as well as the first, is actually A.P. Stewart, which we know A.P. Stewart, corps commander, later division commander at Chickamauga and all that kind of stuff. Actually, Stewart's 4 regiments will fight in 4 different places on the second day. None of the regiments are together, and of course the brigade's not, and so on. It probably goes back to early in the action on the first day. Of course, Polk is kind of just persona non grata a little bit. Clark himself is wounded very early, and so you start booting up the chains of command and disorganization and all that. So Polk's corps is having the most trouble. Now, what we'll see though is in this line, slow down a little bit.
I guess he didn't use that.
We see the Confederate line here confronting, of course, Centerville, Cocktail. Now, again, all those monuments you see out there are first day positions. That's Hurlbut's line out there, the 41st Illinois, 28th, 32nd Advanced Battery, and all that. In perfect world, there should be monuments or tablets to Sanders Bruce's Kentucky Brigade out there for the second day. But if you read the reports, and here's another one of those kind of generic things, I guess, what I found in all the reports, and be interested to see whether you found this at Chickamauga or not. I would guess not, because historically, everything has reached the climax, historiographically, at Snodgrass Hill and all of that. Right. Here at Shiloh, everything kind of reaches the climax historiographically with Johnston's death and maybe the last attacks and so on the first day.
Certainly the collapse of the Hornet's Nest, right?
Well, Hornet's Nest, exactly. Late first day. What you see in the reports at Shiloh is that everybody starts off their report very detailed. We moved up 300 yards to a large field and so, and throughout the day, we moved to the right flank, so many rods and all that kind of stuff. And then, all through the day, and then the night, and we withdrew and so on. And by the time they get to the second day, and I can't figure out whether they were just tired of writing, or by that point it had all turned to mush, and we don't remember exactly what happened, but all the reports read kind of like, well, we moved over here a little bit, and then we moved back the opposite direction a little bit, and then we moved over here a little bit, and then we went home, kind of thing. It just turns to mush. And this is both Union and Confederate. Do you see that at all with Chickamauga?
You see it some at Chickamauga.
There wasn't many to begin with.
Of course, in the Atlanta campaign, which is an extended period, you see that a lot.
A lot. It just kind of tails off.
There'll be some detail in their opening engagements, and then depending on when they write their reports, but all that stuff in the middle. Yeah, we did some stuff. Then the war ended.
Exactly. Exactly.
It all runs together. Those guys they weren't familiar with the field, so
exactly that too. Yeah. That too. And so the point I'm trying to make is, you don't get a whole lot of detail in terms of what's going on, for instance, here with Sanders Bruce's brigade. Almond, of course, across the river road. Hazen, we'll look at him next, is a little bit farther to the west. Sanders Bruce here. And so we don't really know. We know they attacked and we know they were driven back. We also know the Confederates in this area counterattacked, which when you think about it is amazing. They've been fighting for 13 hours the day before, under bombardment by the gunboats and all that all night long, and they still have the power. And this is what really surprised me, and one of the things I'll bring out on the second day, is that all along this line, Confederate forces are counterattacking. And you don't hear that in the standard historiography. But the Confederates are counterattacking. We know they counterattacked. They were driven back. What is the most difficult, and as a historian, you've probably run into this as well, you have to ultimately lay out, I guess, the best you can make out of it. And at times say, we just don't know. There's nothing wrong with the historian say, we really just don't know at this point. What I had the most trouble doing is determining the order of events of maybe which one attacked first and then which one, which came first kind of thing. And in actuality, and there's a lot of evidence of this, a lot of times it would happen at the same time. They would meet each other advancing, and that may have happened here. But the point is, there are no monuments or markers out here because it's so mushy that the commission had a hard time. But we do know Sanders Bruce's brigade came out into the cotton field here. Were driven back by the Confederates here along this line. Heavy artillery presence, of course, with Robertson and McClung on down, and so on. We'll talk about it a little bit later. This is also where the famous incident occurs with John C. Moore. Have y'all watched the movie here?
I have some.
It's been a while.
The new movie. They'll make a big deal out of this and so on. By this point, Jackson's brigade, Jackson is persona non grata. He's gone too. Not sure where, John K. Jackson, but Moore is commanding this brigade, John C. Moore. And this is the famous John C. Moore at Corinth later on.
Yeah.
With attack Battery Robinette and all that. Brigade commander holding the 2nd Texas Lunette and all that at Vicksburg. But that's the same John C. Moore who has been told that there are Confederates in front of you. We want you to advance. This is part of that Confederate attack. We want you to advance, but be careful, there are Confederates in front of you. Don't fire. And staff officers adamant. You know how staff officers can be. Think they're messengers from God and so on. Don't fire. So Moore moves out across the field, and this counterattack gets there and sees Sanders Bruce's brigade over there. Blue, we know they're the enemy, but we're told not to fire. But we're going to open fire anyway. And the staff officer pulls his pistol and says, I'll shoot you if you don't quit firing and all that. Move forward, there are Confederates ahead of you and all that. And of course they walk into just a blind, what's the word I'm looking for? Ambush, yeah. Ambush. And retreat back and all that kind of stuff. Basically, we told you there weren't any Confederates out there, but you wouldn't listen. Well, they get back to the line here, reform the line and so on. And there are a couple of instances of this, actually. It's mostly been kind of fabricated, and the main instance that you see in the official records here supposedly happened here, but it actually happened elsewhere. A politician got involved and goofed it all up. Can you imagine? Got it wrong. But never happened. Yeah, exactly. But the 2nd Texas comes back, and Hardy rides up. This is the incident I'm talking about. Hardy rides up and calls them a bunch of cowards. You wanted y'all retreat. I told y'all not to retreat, and blah, blah, blah. And he calls them cowards. And en masse, the 2nd Texas, standing in line, facing this direction, they will about face, ready, aim, and fire a volley over Hardy's head, and then about face and go back in the line here. And Hardy says, I thought we were going to be put hors de combat. and basically Hardy says, okay, I'll shut up then. But the problem when the politician gets involved in all this, Louis Wigfall and Trezevant, I believe, and some of those big guys and so on from Texas take exception to this and jump on Hardy and all that kind of stuff, and actually gets the situation mixed up. But apparently this happened a couple different times where Hardy would jump on people and all that. But you can just imagine this is kind of like August Willich, running his guys through the manual of arms right here in the middle of battle because they're not firing coherently and all that. And he has them stop and runs them through the manual of arms right in the middle of the battle. And of course, lo and behold, they start firing more perfect volleys and so on. So they turn and they fire a volley right over Hardy camp. The point of all this is, though, a couple of takeaways. Number one, the Union forces by 9 a.m., 10 a.m., well, what does it say here? 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., they are advancing into the field against the Confederate line, but are hitting a rock-solid line and are falling back, making it even more amazing. I mean, who would think that these Confederates could withstand the fresh troops? These are Buell's troops. They haven't seen any action. Now, they've been on forced marches. They're not exactly fresh, but they're, would you call Longstreet's troops fresh when they arrive in the night on, what, the 19th and go into action on the 20th? Are
The
are
troops
they
that
fresh?
arrive at that point are not fresh, but they're unblooded. And
They're
that's the
unblooded,
key.
exactly. They haven't been in action, but they've been on the road for a while and been up and hadn't had any rest and all that. Same thing with Buell's troops here. But still, that the Confederates are able to hold out against these masses of Federals. The Confederates talk about kicking an anthill, you know, it's like they're coming out of everywhere. That they're able to hold is amazing to me. But even more amazing is that at times, and we'll see this elsewhere, they're able to counterattack. Not able to push the Federals back, except with the lone exception of Chalmers on outflanking Almond's brigade, and that's mainly because he's able to get around that flank. But that they're able to even muster enough force to counterattack just amazes me and rewrites really the history of the second day, because you don't get that just a whole lot. Let's move on. If you have questions, of course we can.